Hi, and welcome to Luduke's Creations channel. I am Charity. If you're here for the first time, we welcome you. Hope you guys are all having a blessed day. So today I'm going to be showing you how I make my covers for Bibles. Also, as my husband and I call them, protector of God's Word covers. So, today, some things that you're going to need is a rotary cutter, some type of ruler. You're going to need a turning tool. I use a chopstick, some clips or pins if you prefer pins, um, little scissors to clip your threads, regular scissors to trim off any excess fabric that you may have. Um, you're also going to need a marking tool. I use a heat erase pen. Um, but you can absolutely use chalk or whatever you have on hand. Um, okay, so let's go over the fabric and some other stuff that you're gonna need. So I'm using a magnetic snap. So we have both male and female pieces here, and then I also have the washers for them as well. If you're doing this to sell them, you're gonna need a label. For the snap enclosure, I have two pieces of my main fabric that are 2¼ by 3¼ inch, and the same thing with the interfacing. You're going to need two pieces, and also I have a fusible fleece for this piece as well. So as soon as I get one piece put on, you're also going to fuse that fusible fleece to it as well, and that's for your snap enclosure on this part. Okay, so that's the snap enclosure. Okay, for your handles, if you want to put handles on it, I'm using a 4" by 13". And then for the fusible fleece on the inside is 1" by 13" as well. Um, these will obviously be cut down a little bit smaller because I think I did cut these a little bit too long. But either way, it'll work. Okay, so that's your handle. You're going to need two pieces of it. For your inside slips, these are 5" by 10¾ inch um, pieces. You're going to need two of them. Again, that's 5" wide by 10¾ inch long. Okay, and this is going to be for the inside pocket. So you're going to need, this is the same size as this, but this one is cut in half. So this one we'll put right sides together. We'll sew 1/4 inch across. We'll flip it once it's sewn together, and then we'll top stitch at 1/8 inch across. And then I'm also going to be making a bookmark for this as well. So who doesn't love bookmarks? So this is I do believe it's 3 inches by 7 inches. And two pieces of your fabric, and also two pieces of your interfacing for that as well. And then for our main fabric, this is 10 3/4 inches high, and then 13 3/4 of an inch wide. You're gonna need two pieces of it, and then you're gonna need, for the exact same size, you're also going to need a piece of interfacing. I'm using medium weight for all of this for the interfacing, and then also a fusible fleece as well. I'm going to be quilting this, so I'm going to be quilting both of these pieces separately, so that way we lay them on top of each other once we get everything built, and turn it, and then top stitch it around. Okay, so you're also going to need your iron and an ironing board, obviously your sewing machine as well. Um, all right, so let's start getting things prepped. All right, so we're gonna need to prep our main fabric, get all the interfacing and fusible fleece on that, and then our interfacing on our bookmark, our interfacing on our snap closure tab, and also on our handles as well. So first, where I start at is getting the interfacing put on the main fabric. So that's where we're gonna start. Alright, so I'm gonna get everything ironed on, and then I will return back and show you what I got so far. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys how I do one of the handles. This one I just got done doing. Um, I just want to kind of show you guys how I do it. Alright, so I fold it in half. Okay. Then I'll fold this way to the inside to that crease that we just made, or that I just made. Okay. Then we're gonna take this one, the other side, we're gonna do the same thing. Bring it to the middle. Alright, so when it comes to this strip right here, I will open one of the sides up, lay the sticky side, the glue side down, just right in that crease. Fold this down, and then fold it over again. Make sure everything's lining up, and then let's go through and run the iron over it. until that I know that glue has melted and it's sticking to my fabric. And then I'll take my clips and I'll put clips on it until I'm ready for them, just to kind of hold it all in place. And alright, this is where you're gonna need your scissors. So I just cut the excess fusible fleece off each end on both handles. Okay, so set these off to the side, and we still have these two pockets. So this side down here, we're going to fold down a quarter of an inch. And we're going to do it again. So what this is doing is it's going to close up our raw edge right here. We'll just pop a couple of these on. Alright, set that off to the side. Okay, so on this one that we just done, it's going to be for the left side on the inside. So we need to do this side the same way we just done this one. Okay, so fold it down a quarter of an inch. And then again. More clips. Alright, so when we get to this one, we're going to sew a quarter of an inch across. We're going to flip it, iron the seam, and then we're going to do a top stitch of an eighth of an inch. So we're not quite there yet, um, because I need to put my quilting lines on these two pieces. So I got my bookmarks already prepped, my bookmark already prepped. Alright, so put these guys together, and then this is where you're gonna need your um whatever marking tool you're going to be using. So on previous ones that bookmarks that I made, um, I left the bottom open and flipped it that way. Not too fond of that way, so I've learned to leave an opening on the side and then close it up like that. So I'm just gonna make sure I put my marks just like that. And I try to use two of my red pens and then I'll just put them right there on the line. And that's just reminding me that has to stop and go. And then that'll help keep everything from shifting and everything. Okay, so that's done. And then my turning our closure is already prepped. Got fusible interfacing on just one piece, and then I have the fusible interfacing and the fleece on the other one. And then this one is where we're going to put on one of our magnetic snaps, and the other one will go onto the front of the project. Alright, so I'm gonna set my iron and my ironing board off to the side, and I'm going to start creating my lines on here, and once I get that done, I will be right back. Alright, and so I got my marks on here for my quilting. They're 2 inches apart, going diagonal both ways on both pieces. And then I also want to do the same for the bookmark. So these are 1 inch diagonal lines going one way and then again the other way. So they'll be matching with this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then once we get this quilting done, I got some trimming up to do on this one. And then I will return and we will move on to our pockets, our slips, our handles, and also our flap. So when we get this done, I will return right back. We want to make sure that your back stitching pretty good right here because we're going to be opening and turning all this. Put that back from that. Alright, so we're going to clip these threads. And then you want to take a pair of regular scissors for fabric. And you're going to want to cut from the corners. That'll ease some bulk up in your when you're turning. Okay, so and this is where your chopstick or whatever you're using will help push out your corners. And I run it against my seam as well, just to kind of help uh, lay it out. Right? So just down real quick. Okay. So we're going to be top stitching all the way around this, and I'm going to start on the side that um, oops, I'm going to start on the side that has that opening that we created. Just an eighth of an inch. Nice. Okay, I'll be right. All right, and trim up our threads here. We have the bookmark is done. So now we're going to move on to our other stuff. So I'm gonna let you know what I'm doing. I'm going to do, I'm going to stitch down both of these on both these panels. I'm going to do the handles. I'm gonna top stitch down both sides. I would need 1/8 on both of these. And I'm going to sew these two across, flip it, and then top stitch on this side and 1/8 of an inch. And then when I come back, I'll show you what we done with this. And I'll be installing this, our magnetic button, and on this piece and on our main fabric. And then we'll stitch this together. So I will be right back. So got the handles done. So those are ready. I have this slip done, which will be on the right side on the inside. And I have this slip with the pocket piece attached. Um, so that's ready to go. All right, so our next thing that we're going to do and work on is our magnetic closures. All right, so this one I think I want on the bigger piece. Okay, so what I do is I will find the center and I will just run a mark right here. So I know that's where my center part is. And then I will take my piece just like this and I will center this line that I made right in the middle of the circle piece. And then I'll just mark in the slots beside of that, just like that. And I will take my scissors and these littler lines I'm going to cut just like that. going to slip this right on in, just like that. And then, oops, I dropped it. Yep, it disappeared somewhere. Well, I'll just grab another one here in a minute. Found it. It's on the bottom of my foot. Okay, so once you get your washer on, you just want to spread your prongs apart until they're flat, and then your piece is ready to go. So now we just line it up, and then we'll stitch on the three corners. So we'll go up this side, and down this side. Quarter of an inch. And so clip our threads, and trim the corners. A little bit difficult turning it, but just a little finesse and patience, and she will turn. You want to put your corners out, and then if you wanted to, you could iron this. I'm not going to. I'm just going to top stitch it around, and then once I get ready to do everything else, then we'll press. Okay, Okay, so this piece is done. So we'll set that off to the side. And just for a moment. Alright, so we're gonna work on this piece. And get in our magnetic snap-on. And same thing, making our marks. But make sure your button's on the outside of your fabric and your washer is on the inside and your prongs. Okay, and then we're going to blend our prongs down. Alright, so now that that piece is on, we can take our snap, get everything lined up. Then I mark it on the opposite sides so that way, um, just like that, I know that this goes in between. And then I can pin it just like that. Okay, so our handles, so I did about 2 finger widths away from each side of that. Yep. Then flip this over, line it up, and then let's see. Right, just like that. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is go through and baste all these on. Now, if you're making this for a heavier book, I would definitely reinforce the handles really good. Make sure that they're on there pretty steady. And before I tack these on, I'm going to prep our or my lining piece so that way that's ready to go once we get our front piece tacked together. Okay, just gonna throw a couple clips just to make sure that everything stays in its spot. And we'll do the same thing for this side. So this is already prepped. I'm not gonna tack any of this down. Um, it'll get stitched on all together after we get this piece done. Okay, so just gonna go through and tack these down. Now, we're going to test our closure real quick. Sleep. All right. So, once we get those down, we will lay this. Make sure that you got your pockets the right way. Okay. So we're just going to go through, line everything up. So I am going to leave this open in between these two right here. It just so that way we can turn it with these. Okay, so I'm gonna just pop a few extra clips in Alright, so I'm gonna stitch all the way around at a quarter of an inch, and then once I do that, I will be right back. So after we get this stitched all the way around, we have our opening. Okay, so this is how I do it with the opening, just to make it easier, because I will to fold down at a quarter of an inch, if you can. And then take your iron right across it. Okay? And that's gonna help us after we flip this. So make sure you trim your corners down. And then we're going to flip this. take our little turning tool, push those corners out really good. And where our opening is, we'll clip it. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to roll our seams and we're gonna iron all the way around this. Make sure that iron is flat really good. Then we'll flip it, iron it on this side. Okay. Then Before we go and top stitch this and close it all up, I'm gonna run the iron over this bookmark again real quick. Just make sure I got all the wrinkles out since we already had the iron out. Alright. And it's nice and flat and crispy. Go ahead and top stitch all the way around. And I tend to start on where our opening is, where my opening is,